Our society owes a huge gratitude to all volunteers who've served on our board over the last 70 years. But during that time, BSHAA has been guided by a remarkable line of presidents. In fact, 42 of them. Their leadership, dedication and integrity have helped shape our profession and community into what it is today.
Today we are fortunate to have several of those past presidents with us, and we'd like to show our appreciation for their vital place in history. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my great pleasure to recognise and honour our past presidents. Please join me in welcoming our first past president to the stage, Maureen Lundy.
Maureen, lovely to meet you at last.
Thank you.
I've been told that I may need a microphone for you. And without any further introduction, what can I say, Maureen? Our first ever female president.
Thank you.
Also our longest ever serving president. And if that wasn't enough, you came back and did it all over again.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. President. Firstly, may I say how delighted Gil and I am to be here today. I cannot believe it's such a long time since I've joined the BSHAA Council, 52 years ago, actually. So that's quite a thing. You know, when I started I couldn't help but think when I listened to the panel today that I said to Gil this morning, funnily enough, so much has changed. I'll not recognise some of the needs of our hard of hearing population. Of course, in many ways, nothing's changed. Expectations are still not met. The image is not correct yet. And here we are, 50 years, 70 years later, as my concern, 52, thinking, well, it's marvellous that we're still here and doing a job. Now, I joined BSHAA Council in 1973. And I must tell you, I'd like to recall a few memories, which I'm sure you'll enjoy, those of you who are so much younger than I. First memory is my first meeting of the BSHAA Council. First female to be honoured on it and elected, and I went along there, and the then dear president, who I'm not going to name, and you'll understand why in a minute, said, "We welcome you on board, Maureen. It's delighted to have a female member here." "Thank you," I said. And then he said, "It's so wonderful having a lady with us. She'll be so helpful in arranging the flowers at the annual dinner." It was then I realised that challenges lay ahead, and they surely did. The first challenge was to try and improve the image of the dispensing profession and dispensers generally. In those days, and I hope it's changed a lot, we were all viewed as rogues and vagabonds exploiting the hard of hearing, providing something at great cost that wasn't fulfilling the needs. So how do we do? And that was compounded, actually, in 1978. A very negative article appeared in the Witch magazine. And we were all quite concerned about it. I was dispatched down to the Department of Trade and Industry to try and put our side of the case forward and soften the blow, if you like, a little. I arrived there. I didn't get to see the Secretary of State, but I did see a junior minister. And we had, as they would say in today's parlance, a constructive conversation. As a result of that meeting, lines of communication were opened with the department and other organisations, and we were then moved forward to communicate with people like Michael Martin of the RNID, Freddie Bloom of the NDCS, David Hobman of Age Concern UK, as it was called then, and we were able to meet, exchange ideas, and soften approaches, both socially and at a business level. That was the first challenge. Second challenge was dealing with our members themselves, because as you'll appreciate in those days, and hope it's changed, there was a great divide between companies and individual dispensers. And why? Well, the companies wanted to do things their way. The individual dispensers, of which I was one, thought it was not the right way. We should do it differently. We realised there had to be a compromise, but things had to change. So slowly, we put into place a period of what we would call evolution rather than revolution. Advertising practices were modified. It was realised that we had to perfect more our dispensing and aftercare programme, which we worked on. And then, of course, dear Alex Campbell, one of my very dear friends and colleagues, mooted the idea of a continuing education programme, which again met with resistance because after all, we're talking about commercial interests all the time. But slowly, things evolved. And that was quite helpful because during that time, there was the formation of the Hearing Aid Council. Now, those of you who've worked on the Hearing Aid Council will know that that was quite a hostile environment. And it was really hard work to get the professionals to acknowledge that we weren't all rogues and vagabonds. We were well-meaning and wanted to serve the deaf and hard of hearing. We then went on to have to deal with another challenge, and this is really significant, was the National Health Service. I remember, some of you will remember dear Peter Worth, and he rang me up late one night, as he was prone to do. Maureen, he said, you better pack up your bags, close the door. We're all going to be out of business. Really, I said, and why? Well, the NHS are providing a behind-the-ear hearing aid free of charge. Hitherto, only body-worn instruments had been provided, and here we were having to compete with a post-oral instrument, free of charge, continue with aftercare and everything that goes with it. And what was more alarming was the fact that Oticon, a highly respected organisation, a supplier whom we in the private field have been using for years, had got the contract. So what do? Well, we realised the only way for us to survive was to be one step ahead, both in technology, provision, and aftercare. And who came to the rescue initially? And I think someone's here today, well, the company's here today, and it was Starkey, coming over the horizon from America with the first all-in-the-ear hearing aid. And that was pivotal for us at that time, because we were able to help people cosmetically as well as audiologically. That was quickly followed by Widex, with Widex Senso, which is a game changer. For me, in my practice, it was absolutely pivotal because I was able, as a result of the Widex Senso, liaise with GPs and the hospital, and that as a result of that, we established a direct referral service, which was absolutely marvellous. So, here we are today, 70 years on. We haven't shut up shop. We're still fitting the deaf and hard of hearing, well, hard of hearing really, aren't we? And helping thousands and thousands of people and improving the quality of their lives, as well as breakthrough work with deaf children. But before I go, Mr. President, I'd leave you with one very personal story. In the early days of the Hearing Aid Council, it was routine for us at the annual lunch to invite VIPs. And on this particular occasion, Jack Ashley, MP for Stoke, member of the Labour government, MP for government for over 22 years, he himself profoundly deaf, was invited, and I was asked to host him, which was a pleasure, an honour, delighted to do. Well, it all turned out very well. At the beginning, we had pre-lunch drinks, very amicable, and then we sat down to lunch. And during the course of the lunch, Mr. Ashley I said to Mr. Ashley, tell me, what's your hopes for the deaf and the hard of hearing? Oh, I'm sorry, I'm going to have to sit down. Thank you. He said, what's your hopes for the deaf and hard of hearing? I said, and he looked at me. He said, Mrs. Lundy, I will not rest until I put you all out of business. True. President, testify today. He didn't put us out of business. We're here. Congratulations to everybody, and many, many thanks.